And in my mind, I'm like, my stuff tastes better than yours, first of all. So why would I want to steal your recipe? Look, I got 11 awards in like 6 months, so I don't really need to steal yours.
Talking about. Tell them.
So, I'm good. How about yourself?
Great.
Yeah, can you hear me good?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
we can hear you.
Yes, we are excited to be here with you.
I know. Man, I was going back and forth with Quinine. I was telling her, she said, "Oh, we missed." I said, "No, it was Brooklyn. It was Brooklyn where we met, right?"
Yes.
Yeah, I kept telling her. She said, "No." I'm like, I said, "Come on." I said, "It was Brooklyn." She said, "It wasn't Brooklyn." And then I showed her some. She said, "Oh, it was Brooklyn." I said, "Okay, thank you." Still didn't admit I was right, but
but you got one in. You got one in for the beginning of the year. That's great.
I know. I got in early, right?
Got in early.
I was like, hold up. I'm gonna run with that one too.
Yeah.
Gotta get the wins I can. So guys, I remember you talked about doing this back then.
Yes, back in June. Yeah, we met at the very end of the night, I believe. And you gave us this lovely sample bottle that we are going to kill today.
Yeah, we already pulled up. We rocking and rolling.
And it was funny. That was a rough day for me that day. I almost left and everything. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't think, because what happened, it was just New York, my first time in New York and all of that. But
it's a lot.
First of all, that morning I wake up to a call. The person supposed to be bringing my bourbon up, talking about, my mother passed out. She's in the hospital, and then they stole the cases, and I'm like, what? And so I can't really get mad. The man, mama passed out in the ER, but then okay, so he wasn't going to be able to bring it like he was supposed to because I have a warehouse in Maryland, and and so then worked it out. Lazar called somebody, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stand up there on business. I had some sample bottles. I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna do what I got to do, but. No, I mean, and then my hotel room flooded. So I was like, I'm getting too many signals. I was like, I'm getting too many signals.
It's like, maybe it's time to.
Yeah, but then I was like, you know what? I said, I made a commitment. Let me do this. I said, I'm just going to stand up here on business. And people are like, oh, you ain't got nothing to pour. No, I don't. This is what happened. But guess what, though? We got some good shit. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So, but yeah, that was crazy. That was New York out of life. I said, New York beat me up.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I mean, the hotel room was the one that killed me right there. I mean, straight flooded. We had to move us, and but no.
That's weird that it flooded because it was the middle of a heat wave out there.
Yes, it was hot. I'm like, man. I was like, this is crazy. And, I lived down south before, so I get the humidity. Mm-hmm. But, New York is very humid out there.
But the weird part's out.
Where are you, Missouri?
We're in Oklahoma. No, we're in Oklahoma. Okay. So we're familiar with the heat, too. But I've got family out in Yonkers, and I went to stay with them. They don't have AC.
That's how Oakland is. Oakland don't have AC. A lot of people in the Bay Area don't have AC unless you go further out where, but San Francisco, Oakland, most people over there don't have AC because it don't get that hot. But now it's been getting hot, and these people sit up in these $1 million houses with no AC. I'm like, man.
Nah, that's wild. Yeah. Move.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Well, we're not a scripted show, so I'll just count us in. We'll do our intro and let you tell us about yourself as we introduce you.
We just go with it. I'm down with going with the flow.
Yeah. All right. Well, 3, 2, 1. Hi, and welcome to the Liquor Connoisseur. I'm Crystal.
I'm Roger.
Today, we have a very special guest. We have Glenn Thomas from John Lee Hooker Legacy Spirits here today to talk to us about their bourbon and the legacy of his grandfather, John Lee Hooker, who gave us so many great hits. And the spirit is actually named after that, which is called Boogie Chillen Bourbon. I probably didn't say that right. So, Glenn, please welcome.
Boogie Chillen Bourbon. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Granddad made a lot of music, and a lot of music people, some people not familiar with the name, but then they hear music. Oh, that was him. Because so many other people remade his music. So, this whole thing started out me doing this bourbon to honor him. And it's just like, it's just a whole new, just whole new world opened up, just talking to people who were fans of his and just discovering so much more. Because, when he's granddaddy, you don't look at him as, this music star. He just the old man who you like to give a hard time to. And so, but I think that it has been very fulfilling these first few months. Because I think we've been out. Oh man, we had just came out when we met, and I'll let you tell where we met. But yeah, it's only been a little over 6 months. We've been a little 6 months, and
okay,
it feels like 6 years, but it's been good. It's been challenging.
So how long did you all work on this? I see you guys are partnered with Bardstown to distill it.
Yeah, this was something that popped. It's been into my head for like the last 10 years when I do this. But then like 2.5 years ago, I just said, you know what? I need to do it because my family made a decision. Because when my grandfather died, he had everything taken care of, estate, trust, publishing. He had got all his publishing, majority of his publishing he got back. And then after 20 some odd years after he passed in 2001, my family decided they wanted to sell the publishing, which I wasn't happy about because he fought hard to get it back. And I don't think that he wanted that because he always talked about he's able to leave a legacy. He never thought he'd be able to leave anything to his family at all. He just thought, and so he took a lot of pride because he fought to get it back. And that's when I was with him quite a bit around that time. He was going back and forth to court, getting it back. And so when he finally got it back, he was just ecstatic. So, so when they sold it, I'm like, oh, why, I definitely, like I said, there's no secret I wasn't happy because, like I said, it's something that he wanted to go generation. And I always say a lot of times as Black people, we don't see the benefit or the long-term benefit of keeping our legacy versus short-term gain.
Yeah. So
I say, you know what? I've been wanting to do this because bourbon was our thing. And I don't know if you saw, I did a little video talking about it. I went to school. It was known as a party school that I went to. So, I partaked in a little bit of alcohol throughout that time. And so when I turned 21, I needed some money. So I called John Lee. Hey, granddaddy. I guess I'm turning 21 now. I'm come see you. Why you come to see me? It ain't my birthday. I'm like, well, it's my birthday and I'm coming to see you. Oh man, quit. He know the routine. He know what it's all about. But he wanted to play, tough guy or whatever. But, so I go and he wanted me to he said, you're old enough to have a drink with me now, right? And that's what 21-year-old Glenn said, oh, I hate to break the news to you, granddad, but I've had a drink before. You're like, okay. I never said you didn't have a drink. You never had a drink with me. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, fine. I'm trying to, mind you, I'm 21, I'm in college, I'm broke, and it's my birthday. I'm going to try and see a friend of mine in Oakland. He lived in Redwood City. So I'm trying to get this money just to go back over there. So he said, okay, we'll have this drink. So he poured, they pour it. And first thing I asked him, I said, where's the Coke and ice? Because he poured me in neat. And this whole thing used to do 2 fingers and a splash of water. I'm like, okay. All right, fine. Okay. I went to Chico State. We know how to drink. So, hey, we're the #1 party school in the nation. So I can I know how to handle this, so I pick it up. All right, everybody going. Everybody say happy birthday, Glenn. And I just shoot it. I mean, a little less than this, but I just shoot it like, whoa, just start, because I'm thinking it's almost like, in college, you're doing tequila shots. You do everything is a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we was doing some, and I asked one of my uncles that was there. We was doing Old Forester, and, it was bottled in bond, so it was 100 proof, and I'm just hitting it. And it was a rough. It probably has a lot of writing that think looking back at it because it was rough.
Uh-huh.
I grew hair that day on my chest, I think those are only 7 pieces of hair I got on my chest, the ones I grew that day. But, and so then I'm like, oh, I don't like this, Granny. I don't want no more. He said, no, why are you rushing? What you doing? He had a stutter a little bit. Oh, slow down. All right, I said, okay, I don't want no more. He said, well, you haven't had a drink with me. I'm like, I did drink it. No, you haven't had a drink with me.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, fine. Yeah, no, he said, we can go home now, okay? I'm like, God damn, okay, I need this money. So, all right, let's do this, old man. So he poured me another. And this time he said, slow down, boy, don't rush. I'm like, all right. And I'm just like, I'm always I'm the person. I'm moving. I'm like I said, like a shark. Don't like sit still sometimes. And he was like, just slow down, relax, boy. And I'm like, okay. So he poured a second one. I reached for it again. He said, stop. Just pick it up and smell it. I'm like, okay. What am I smelling for? Okay, now sit it down. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking like, okay, let's do this and get it over with. He said, no, you're supposed to sip it. He said, so we're going to do it. My uncle in the background said, we're going to do this again, Glenn. And this time, just listen. My grandfather, okay, now take your time, boy. Just do a little sip and put the glass down. Just hold your breath, do a little sip, put the glass down. I'm like, oh, it ain't that bad, right? He said, okay, then. He's all right, then we went again. I'm that third one. I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. I can it's kind of cool. And then he said, that's life, boy. I'm like, what you mean that's life? He said, that first glass, you rushed it, you was anxious, you was hurt, and you crashed and burned. That second one, you took your time, you relaxed, you enjoyed it. He said, slow down and you'll have a nice, pleasant life. And so, at the time when he said it, the first one you rushed and you crashed and burned, the second one you took your time, you enjoyed it. That's life. I had no clue what he was talking about. But as I got older, and I remember I had my first son, and I called him about 4 years later and was reminding him of that story, which he did not remember telling me that. He remembered the drink, but he didn't remember telling me that. And he said, I said that to you? I said, yeah. He said, yeah, slow down. You always rushing and hung up on me. So that was our thing. And so when I was thinking about this bourbon, because I can't play instruments, so, I think God knew he couldn't make me a rock star because it'd be like Lenny Kravitz and something like that. Lenny Kravitz combined with Gerald Levert, it'd been some type of crazy mix. So, yeah, they couldn't do that to me. Give me them vocals of Gerald and that guitar, and they couldn't do that. So God didn't give me that gift. So, but so I would go visit him, and our thing was we would just drink a little bourbon because he always, as I got older, I brought a couple RI bottles over, but he always would have bottles. People would drop stuff off to him. Back then, he had an endorsement deal with Martell, the cognac.
Okay.
So so he had cognac there, and people would drop them off. In hindsight, I remember he had Blantons and all this type of stuff before. Because back then, bourbon was nothing. Everybody, you can get that stuff.
No, you could get it.
Yeah.
And so we would have different things, and so we would just drink. We do our little 2 fingers. And we would just sit and talk for hours, nursing that one drink. And he was, that was just one of his big things because he told me when he was younger, he got drunk and he got, fell asleep in the car. He didn't crash, but he fell asleep in the car. And he said the police woke him up and told him to take his ass home. And he said that scared him. So, he always talked about, don't overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I talk about it, when I talk about this bourbon, I say this bourbon is meant for me to enjoy the times I had with my grandfather and enjoy the times currently with my friends and family. And also think about, God willing, when my grandson Carter, because I'm the oldest grandchild, so I was that one. So I'm the oldest, and so Carter is he's my grandson, and he just turned 14, which is crazy. So when he 21, God willing, I'm able to sit down and have that drink with him, and he's probably going to be just like me, and because he's and he's definitely paid back for the way I used to treat my grandfather. Just jokes and all that. Because it's my grandson. I'm like, wow. My mother was there. She said, "Yeah, Carter is kind of like you." I'm like, I was like that. She said, "Yes, Carter that's you." Because he give me a hard time. He'll give nobody else a hard time but me. So that's my little man right there. So 21, I want to do that. On a side note, Old Carter, Old Carter Bourbon. He has a wine company as well, right? He has Carter Cellars. And I met Mark, and he invited me up to his winery in Calistoga, because I live in California. And, I got to drink out the barrel, $300, $400 bottles of wine out the barrel. And I bought a bottle of Carter Cellars, because his name is Carter, 2010. He was born in 2010. And my goal is to give that to him on his 21st birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the move. Yes.
So that's
great.
So
you're not only submitting your grandfather's legacy, but your own.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that is something that in the whole process of this, I didn't really think about that part. But then someone brought that to my attention, and I was like, oh, okay. Because when you're in the weeds, you don't really think about it, because it's not about, my legacy will be what I do. So let me not worry about that right now. Let me do what I need to do to paint the picture now, to where years later they want to look at it and check it out. So my legacy is my boys. I have 2 boys, and we have a great relationship. Like I always tell them, I'm not your friend, I'm your daddy. And so that, that's my legacy, my grandkids. And I think the people who I've come across in my life, we're not going to be made for everybody, but majority of people seem to tolerate me and and have good things to say about me. So, ain't too many people out there can say they might not like me for whatever reason, but I ain't never did nothing to them. So that's different. So that's my legacy, is trying to make it better, make something better after I left it or whatever. So.
Yeah, I love it. You all also have the foundation for your grandfather.
Yeah.
That does so many great things.
That to me is my grandfather, like I said, when my grandfather died in June 2001, I spoke to him that night before, and because my sister-in-law, shout out to Stephanie, she just had her birthday, was just New Year's Eve. We just spent it with her. But her mother was at her mother's funeral back then. And I'll never forget, we at the funeral, I get the call, hey, your granddad died. Come out to his house. And, I'm like, I just spoke to him last night, and he sounded good. A little tired because it was kind of late, like 9:30, 10 o'clock when we spoke. But I'm just like, okay, he didn't sound like it, because he had an aneurysm that he got diagnosed with probably about 3 years before that. And the doctor said it can rupture in 1 year, it can rupture in 10 years. And he didn't want to do the surgery at the time. I wanted him to do the surgery, but he said, no, I'm not doing it. And in hindsight, I understand why he didn't want to do it, because he's older and he had never really been sick. So if they get in and remove the aneurysm, anything can happen. He didn't want to be bedridden. So I'm like, and the doctor told me, you're probably just going to sleep. And he said, okay, it ain't going to be no pain. And that's how it was. He just went to sleep. And so when he died, because he and I had talked about setting up a foundation, because one time we went to see this elementary school. This guy had a program called Little Kid Rocks. And these little kids playing guitars and musical instruments, coolest little thing. And it was at an elementary school by him. So we went, checked it out. And that's something he wanted to do. And so I was okay, let's do that, Granny. We talking about it. He traveling, I got kids, so it just, and at the time I was a manager at AAA over like a big center and all these different people. So it just we never did it. And so when he died, I said, I got to do it. So we set it up that December of the same year, and it's been going since then. And we work with kids. We do musical instruments to kids. We do different things for youth, and we're expanding it more because one thing we want to do is we want to set up a fund for musicians, because a lot of times that musician is really called a starving artist for a reason. And a lot of times he had people in and out of his house living with him, and I never understood why. Why you got these people in your house, Granny? Why? That was my thing. Everything was why to me. And he told me, he said, at one point, I was homeless. When I left, I'm sleeping on floors and this and that. And somebody let me in and took everything. So I'm playing it forward. And that was him. I mean, he was just a very generous man. And I used to always say, wow, if I can be 1/10 the person he was, especially everything he had to deal with coming up, growing up in Mississippi, leaving home at an early age, man, he had some times, but he was never bitter, and he always saw the best in people. So that was one thing that I've always admired about him.
That's amazing. Was there anyone he took in that became famous that made it?
That part I really can't. He had just his band members. He had people would come. I'm there one time and James Brown called the house, and when I tell you, listening to them two have a conversation was the funniest thing ever. Because I answered the phone, I said hello. Hey, Johnny, it was real fast, Johnny. And all I heard was Johnny. I was like, huh? I said, excuse me, hey, Johnny, I said, Grande. I was speaking, hey, Johnny. I'm like, Grande, somebody think James something? And he knew, because I guess he expected to call, get the phone, boy, get the phone. Hey, and they just going back and forth. I'm looking at them like, so I just walk out the room and go about my business. So, he just always had people in and out, It's
a big deal to me. James Brown called a house. I'm telling everybody.
But here's the thing. It was so funny. I was just that person who was just like, not saying I was unfazed by it, but he always made it a point not to make a big deal over people or a big deal over stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So to me, it was just like, okay, it was cool. Mm-hmm. But, I did tell my friend, James Brown called my granny. James Brown called my granny.
I would have had to. I'd be like, man, the big payback. I would have been going all the way up.
And it was funny. It was like I have friends to this day. They used to always want to come over there with me. Because to me, I would go over there. It was just me. It was just like, let me go bother him and do whatever. And they always want to come with me because he always had, a lot of times he might have nice women around the house, around the pool. He ain't never getting the water. Because he always had to have a pool. he sit in pool. It was a famous picture of him, B.B. King, and I think Willie Dixon. There, three of them are sitting next to a pool with suits on.
I gotta find this picture, man.
Man, if I'm gonna find out, I'm sending it to y'all. But no, it was a picture of them three, and I said that was him. Every morning he got up to the full suit on, go sit on the couch.
Wow.
That's all right. He enjoyed it.
No, because he said blues man. He said he was a blues man. We wear a suit, and it was just like he never. People laugh when I tell them they don't believe. I've never seen my grandfather not in a suit.
Yeah. Okay.
Always got suit pants on. Always got a button down shirt.
Yeah.
That was him. That was his thing. So.
Yeah.
I remember going to shopping for suit, going suit shopping with them. That was always a thing. So, but it was fun. It was fun growing up. That was my dude.
That's
you
really
over there,
cool.
I see you smelling it, man. You want to dig into this?
It's good.
I like this. It's tasty, man. Yeah.
And like, see, when I remember, I went to a bunch of different samples. Like you mentioned, Bardstown. I went to a bunch of samples to them. Different brokers send me a bunch of stuff, and it was like a 2-year journey. So I wanted to learn more about this bourbon. So I just drunk it. I wasn't one of these people who I had a bunch of bottles, but I just had them because I would buy stuff. Because I'm compulsive at times. I get into my buying, especially during COVID. I bought so much stuff during COVID.
We did too.
Yeah. And so I see it. So I wanted to get something that will remind something. I like high proof, right? So I do like high proof. Like last night I was drinking. What was that? God, man, it wasn't Stag. It was a man. It's gonna sound crazy. I was drinking that Jack Daniels, a little square one with the gold label. Them single barrels they got out.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things about those.
Okay,
I like them, and so I was drinking that, and that's that high. I like that high heat. I like anything high proof. I'm gonna try it, but I wanted to make something to where when you drink it, that the regular bourbon connoisseur or the expert, all these bourbon experts out there. So I wanted something that they would enjoy and also something that a novice would enjoy. So I thought Bottled and Bond was, the 100 proof. And the funny thing about it, I didn't put Bottled and Bond on the bottle because I didn't really think about that at the time. And when I thought about it, it would have been like a 3-week turnaround for them to redo the label and push me back.
Okay.
I said, I'll do
so
that
it's
next go
actually
around.
A bonded bourbon then. Okay.
Yeah. Everything was I never left Bardstown warehouse.
Sweet.
We love bonded.
Yeah. And so I wanted, like I said, something you can sip. And so that's why on the nose you see the brown sugar. You can smell that brown sugar. That my favorite dessert, cream brulee. And so I wanted something like that. And I wanted something that wasn't going to blow your palate out. I've had some 100 proofs that will, blow you out. But this right here, when I tell people about it and they're tasting it and they don't realize it's 100 proof until I tell them. Especially when I do tastings, I don't even like to tell them up front because I know a lot of people are like, ooh. And I always teach them, I always say, look, when you do it, because first thing people do, you pour them in little plastic cups. First thing they try to do is shoot it. I'm like, no, stop. Can't do it.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's smell it. And then we're going to do 3 little sips. We're going to warm that palate up. And I always tell people, Usain Bolt just didn't jump in the blocks and run 100 meters. He had to warm up. And the same thing with our palate. We have to warm it up. Them 3 little sips or something just to get it going. Then once it's warm, you can drink what you want to drink then.
Yeah.
So I wanted that to where when you're sitting up with your friends, family, significant other, whomever, this is something that you want to take your time and drink. Like I remember the first time I broke this out with my friends who I know I got on their nerves talking about this for 2 years. But they was very supportive, always, that's good, bro, that's good. But I remember we broke it out and it was about 12 of us. We was at this lounge, this private lounge. And I mean, when we sat in there and we just laughed and talked, I think we were about 2 or 3 bottles. And we didn't realize that we went through that much over a 3-hour period. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's nice.
But, but and nobody was drunk, but because we did it, you just going so slow. And, I tell people, I like to enjoy my bourbon now. And that's one reason I drink neat, because if you give me a mixed drink, I'm going to drink it fast. I'm going to drink it fast because I drink, like, if I'm eating dinner, let's say I order Arnold Palmer, I'm going, boom, 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 boom. I'm drinking water, boom, boom. It's just natural. I drink. So that's why neat makes me not be able to drink like that. It slow me down. But the mixed drinks, and plus the mixed drinks, they catch up to you. You know,
we try to tell our audience every time, man, this is stuff like this is less likely to hurt because it doesn't have all them extra sugars and all that stuff in there that give you that hangover. And so we try to tell them.
Yeah, and it's like I tell people, like, I do love old fashions and stuff like that, but it was so cool. Like we do a party, right? And I had some barrels, and I batched it up and did like a pre-made old fashioned and gave them out as gifts.
Nice.
I had my label reprint. This little 200 milliliter bottle, and it's pretty much same label. And I gave these out. Again, this is the pre-made old fashioned batch.
Are those for sale online? Are those for sale on your website or something?
No. This is a mix. I want to do a RTD later on, but this is something I just wanted to give out. And what's the name? I might have a couple extras, so we talk about that afterwards. But
okay, no problem.
But no, it's something that I wanted to give to those fellas, those brothers that I have over there who was supporting them days. So I said, I'm tired, I ain't gonna do this. They're the ones who quit whining, gonna say some choice words, get it going.
So you got to do it.
Yeah, and so so I gave those out, and I mean this has been a journey. It has been a really fun journey.
Now this is the first release. What else do you all have planned? Because your grandfather had lots of songs.
And so you know what? Okay, this one is called 1948, and the reason called 1948. I always tell people, John Lee Hooker Lake's the spirit of the company. The first brand is Boogie Chillen Bourbon. So our bourbon is going to be Boogie Chillen. If we come out with anything else, it might be on itself, but Boogie Chillen Bourbon. And its first release is called 1948. And this was, like I said, went through a bunch of different mash bills. And this is the one I like. The 75 corn, 15 rye, and a 10 malted barley. That's sweet with a little pop. Next year, I'm working on a project to do 4 single barrel releases next year, to where I haven't finalized yet. So I have to tell you about more details later, but is 4 barrels that are going to pay homage to him. And they're going to pay homage to him and also pay a little homage to my grandmother, even though she didn't drink in her later life. But it's more of a me doing this because, I honor him. I got to honor her in some type of way too. So we're going to do 4 single barrels. But then in April or May, our 1-year anniversary, because we announced the company in April, but we really didn't, get out until May, June. And so we're going to come out with a second release. And that is probably going to be more of a rye focus one.
Okay.
And then maybe by the end of the year, come out with a third SKU, because I want to have about 3 SKUs to run those. And let me not say SKUs, 3 variations of the bourbon.
Yeah.
This one right here. I'm going to do, like I said, we're doing them single barrels. And I'm just going to play with it. I told Mark Carter we need to do something together because I like old Carter. And, so he was real cool when I met him. And I mean, it's funny. A lot of the people in this arena have been very nice and open.
Yes.
And I was, I come from the real estate background. It can be hit or miss, with people over there.
Yeah.
I've been in telecom before. Yeah, people, then everybody cut though. But over here, I mean, we all competitors, but we all do something different. This is like barrels. You can take 5 barrels, same mash bill, same place, stuck in a warehouse, same thing. It's gonna be 5 different tastes.
Mm-hmm.
So why should it be an issue? Why do we need to compete? Or we compete, but it doesn't have to be you can't help somebody. It's like I've helped people, and I've only been in it for a while, but a lot of people have helped me. I remember, Fay Ranch Bourbon.
Yeah.
I met the owner over there. He and I talked, and we exchanged numbers, and you know, he is going to impart some of his learnings that he had when he first started. And, it's just different things like that where these people, will, help you. I remember when I went to Spirit on the Rise in April, that Fawn Weaver and them do over there at Uncle Nearest. Mm-hmm. And I met a lot of good people over there, and I, made good connections, and we still talk. If I'm having a moment, if I can't figure out something, I can call them, and they're willing to help. So that's the thing I like, where you wouldn't think it, and you would think alcohol, you think everybody does it, but that bourbon is different. That whole atmosphere, and you guys know, every time you go somewhere, people are normally friendly and engaging. Oh, taste this, because you guys did go to Bourbon Boulay, did you?
No. We only went to taste the black spirits.
Yeah, but no, Bourbon Boulay, I went, and man, that was crazy. Good energy, but the last night in the hotel lobby, everybody bought these bottles up there. They've been buying all these types of bottles. And when I literally say it's like 20 to 30 bottles on the table, wow, maybe more, and everybody just going in. We were down there to I left at 2. I tapped out at 2:30. I couldn't do it. 2:30 at a certain point. But then I heard they were down there to 4:00 in the morning. So it's just that community, which I like.
Mm-hmm. No, I love the community. Being in Oklahoma, we're pretty limited on our experiences, but we do have several distilleries out here, and the ones we've connected with have just been so open.
Yeah, they've been great with us, man. Come on out. You want to do a tour? You want to check some stuff out? I'm like, really? I don't have any viewers. It's fine. Y'all can go walk on in and just, get some footage and try out this. And we're like, man, these people are very kind to us, because just about we've been in several other industries as well. Yeah. And it's not like that. Like you said, it's very cutthroat and very off.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, can't come on a red carpet. I can't give you the secret sauce.
Yeah.
And I remember it was this one, I did this one brand, and they were cool. They helped me. They cool. They don't like it. But I remember I was talking to them. I said, oh man, I was tasting it. I said, man, I asked about the mash bill, right? Oh, no, that's a secret. I'm like, really? Mm-hmm. Buffalo Trace got 4 mash bills.
Yeah.
And they all taste different. The 4, they where you put them in a warehouse at, and I just thought that was funny. They didn't want to give up the mash
There's so many factors.
I'm gonna run out and get it, and it probably was, and I think it was sourced anyway. So come on,
yeah. They worried you gonna just go do the same source and make the same thing. Like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
And in my mind, I'm like, my stuff tastes better than yours, first of all. So why would I want to steal your recipe? Look, I got 11 awards in 6 months, so I don't really need to steal yours.
Talking about. Tell them.
So, but no, it just fun. It was funny the way they did it. But everybody, it's been a very, like I said, the best 2 broke years of my life doing this, because I had to step back from my business to really do this, because I can't do it half-ass. I couldn't do it because I know me with my real estate, my mortgage. I'm gonna be like, okay, if I'm doing that full time and trying to do this on the side, it's always gonna get pushed back, because I'm gonna chase the money. So I had to make the commitment to really do this, to push it, and now I'm starting to see the benefits of it. We get more and more distribution. At the beginning of the year, we picked up Tennessee and Connecticut, soon to be in Kentucky. We already California, New York, New Jersey, Florida. Yeah, California, New York, New Jersey, Florida, and Georgia. We'll be picking up those other 2. So, in 6 months, I had to reflect on it, because certain things I wanted to do, where I want to be at, blah, blah, blah. I think that, I should be here, but I'm not there in my But then people are telling me, "Oh, slow down. You're further ahead than you think you are." So, but when you set goals, you're trying to check it off, and I always know that if I always try to set high goals anyway, and that way the old saying, if you fall short, you still with the stars. You shoot for the moon, you fall short, you still with the stars. Right. So I'm happy with where we're at and where we're going. I think next year, because I look, this has been my preseason pretty much. Now I'm ready for the regular season.
Okay.
Not knowing anything and just the learning curve. And I feel like, okay, I'm ready to dance now and really do some stuff. And I think some of the things that we're working on is crazy. I think the single barrel thing is going to be something that somebody's never really seen, and I'm sure it's going to be something that's different in the space. And I'm only going to do, because somebody was saying you should do multiple barrels for the release. I'm like, no, I'm doing one barrel for 4 different releases. And then next year we can gauge it. Then if it's big, then I can go with maybe, multiple barrels for each release, single barrel type stuff. But now I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to the release that we're going to do in April or May. That one is probably going to be over 100 proofs as well. I mean, I know it's going to be 100 above because, everybody's saying I need to come out with a lower proof, I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Don't listen to them.
Yeah, I said, give me 4 to 5 years and I can kick back, something like that. But I got to separate myself with some of these other brands. And I just think the flavor profile, 100 proof and above, like I said, if it's too hot for you, here you go. Got your beaker, put some water up in there, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And that's how, like I said, when my grandfather 2 fingers splash of water, that's what he would do. Put a little bit of water in there until he get to his likeness, and then go from there. Versus, people say, I like throwing a big ice cube. Big ice cube, I have to drink faster than I want to. Because throwing in that big ice cube, what's going to happen?
It's going to dilute. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and that last little bit is,
No, that is true. People don't realize that the higher proofs, it lets it shine. You get those natural flavors. You dilute it out when you do the lower proof. And especially if you're going to mix it, you want it to shine through in the cocktail.
Yep. Like I told people, I said, and believe me, like I always use this as an example because I used to drink this. I was fancy. I was drinking Basil Haven. I was fancy. I drank Basil Haven all the time. And when I look back at it, Basil Haven was only 80 proof. And I remember I would order old fashioned or something with it. And I'm mad at the bartender, like, man, he gave me what's the ounce on this pour? It's a 2 ounce pour, sir. It don't taste like it. It
don't taste like, because it can't.
It's 80 proof and you put these mixes up in it. So now I'm drinking probably 72 proof. I'd say 75 proof. And then with this ice up in there, and I'm talking right in my mouth, I'm going to get 60 proof by the time I get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like you said, I like high proof drinks for my cocktails. And, I'm about to update the website with some recipes because I'm, naming recipes, different things. Like we got one we call the hook, which is is something that's served straight up in a coupe glass. We got the old fashioned. We got one thing called the boogie. In the boogie, it's just it's a bourbon margarita.
Okay.
You ever did a bourbon margarita?
I have not. So, walk me through that one.
We might have to reverse, but not.
Yeah, we want to see about that.
No, but a bourbon margarita is just a margarita, but with bourbon. And if you think about it, when you make a margarita, most times they're using a Blanco or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. But let's just say you take a basic house pour Evan Williams, right? Evan Williams still probably been aged 4 years, right? And so you got all that flavor from that bourbon. You throw that in a margarita, and so a lot of times if you're trying to do a top shelf margarita, you got to throw Grand Marnier in there. because you want that flavor. But with a bourbon, you're getting all that flavor up in there already.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, try it. Make you a bourbon margarita, then let me know what you think of it.
And that's on your website.
No, it's good. I'm putting it up there now. I'm updating now. I had to get some pictures of the drinks and to get it up there. But I've been doing like events, and we broke it out in a couple events, and people were like, what? We did these things in Atlanta, and that was on the menu. The Boogie, and the people went crazy over that. They went crazy over it. I didn't think, like, I said, okay. And I think, but I can't even take credit for it. I can't take credit for the bartender. This bartender in Georgia did it. And I was like, wow. And he was making all these, he was playing with the bourbon, making all these drinks. And I'm being like, okay, I'm so many other things I got to do. And I'm like, I'm not really care about no mixed drinks, whatever. I want my stuff. I'm a natural. I want my stuff served pure, And them people was going crazy over the bourbon margarita. And then I tasted one. I'm like, okay.
I see why they're going crazy.
Yeah. And I'd be making, I'd be making for people come by the house, and it's like I said, I think a good cocktail must start with a good spirit.
Yes. Yeah, we started to do tastings. We're like, okay, so what's your base spirit? What notes do you like? Because that way we'll try it neat. And then if you want to mix, we know, okay, well, let's pair it with this. Let's pair it with that.
Yeah.
Just kind of walking them through so they make sure they're getting the benefits.
Yeah. And see, mine, and like it's on the palate, you get all that caramel and that brown sugar and all that. So it enhances that margarita thing. And then, like you said, you smoke it, then it's even more over the top, man. You smoke margaritas, it's even more over the top. Yeah.
A smoked bourbon margarita, I can't wait. That might just be the next move.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm telling you, get you a nice 100 proof.
Okay.
I'd be, because it's funny with this, I just play with a lot of stuff now. And like one of my favorite things, I'd be making what they call a 4-man pappy. You ever heard of that? I'd be making a 4-man, I bought them little Asian sticks. And do all, we just mixing different shit together.
Until you get it, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm trying to learn how to mix or blend, so I ain't gotta pay somebody $20,000 to blend for me.
Yeah. We've read about that. I'm like, man, this is so serious. They're like, nah, just because you source and stuff doesn't mean it's gonna be easy, and because now you got to get your blend game right. And I was like, oh, that's extra work.
Yeah, and I got lucky because, like I said, mine, I didn't have to blend it. This is one mash bill. We blended the barrels together, of course, and we didn't do things, but we put them all together in there and proofed it to 100. But with the whole blending, when people taking this ride, it is like a science. But I think that's something that I'm going to do some different blends like that later on. But I've been fortunate that some of the mash bills I've gotten, they don't need all of that. They don't need the blends. And, I want to do something because I want to do something crazy, scientific stuff. I might want to mix a high wheat with a high rye with a very high corn and see what I come out with. Take some stuff that maybe, you find like an 8-year-old barrel, some 8-year-old barrels that people really, they're not, I tell people a lot of times these barrels get old because they're not good. You know what I'm saying? Just because you got 9 years on your bottle, 8 years on the bottle, that don't mean that juice is good. It's probably been in there for a reason. That's why they're aging it so long, trying to get something else out of it or to get the age up. And that's why a lot of times you'll see some of these blends where you'll have a low percentage of a high year one in low percentage of a high year and higher percentage of a younger one, just trying to get that. And that way they can, I think something you can call whatever the oldest one in there, you can, say it's 8-year blend, because it has that in there. And that is, I want to, like I said, I want to blend, but I want to blend it for a reason, not just because you got have to.
Well, Bardstown is a great place for that.
Yeah.
We just recently visited their facility, which was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We actually did we did the Glass Rickhouse tour. So I'm amazed to see what innovation comes out of that for them. But just seeing how they've been doing a lot of blending with their brand.
They do a lot. And I remember when I was there talking to them, they were. Think about Bardstown. They treated me or treat me like I am a big established brand. They treat me the same way. If I want to come in there and hold a meeting with people, I'll get to say, I'm bringing people over here. I want to do a tour. I want to go, but so they give me that whole, they tell me it's your facility as well. And that is one of the things that I really truly like about them, because they help walk me through. I had a glass issue with my bottles. I didn't know that. I ordered a bunch of pallets of boxes, pallets of glass, and they said, Mr. Thomas, these bottles are not good. I go, what you mean? Something was wrong with the mold. And he said, would you mind? Do I have your permission to call the bottler and get this resolved? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
call the bottler.
I'm pretty sure you can get it fixed.
Yeah. The bottler, they call, and they sent me a whole new pallet of glass, because they found out there was something wrong with that mold. And if it, I wouldn't have caught that, I don't know. And if I went to some any old bottling place, they wouldn't have cared. They would have just bottled it up. And like you say, your bourbon is too good and your label is too beautiful to be on something that's imperfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's the type of support that you get from somebody like that, which I really appreciate.
That's amazing.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So give me another little drink.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm trying to save some. Cheers.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I know we have, so I'm trying to hold off a little bit. Hold on.
Okay.
It's not going to last past this. Because soon as this, we're going to finish this up.
No, I think the closest to us is maybe, I think I saw somewhere in Texas had it. But we may just have to go online and pick up a bottle.
Yeah.
I think we just not able to ship to Oklahoma. We weren't able to ship to Oklahoma at first.
It happens a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
We're used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden it just opened up. I'm like, okay. I got this, somebody ordered a case and went to, I was talking to them and we couldn't ship there. And then they were going to ship it to their family in Texas. Yeah. But then he said, I'm just going to try. And he went in there, because I changed fulfillment company. So when I changed the fulfillment company, I guess they added a store that could ship it there. And we shipped to Oklahoma. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We just able to ship to Michigan now, too, which Michigan is hard to ship to.
Well, we met back in the summer at Taste of Black Spirits. We talk about Taste of Black Spirits a lot here. Lazar Favors puts that on in several states. Brooklyn happened to be the one that I attended representing us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was eye-opening for us, because being in Oklahoma, we don't know about all the brands, let alone all the Black brands that exist. So being at that event, there were over 30 Black brands.
That's big, sure.
I was a kid in a candy store trying to try as much as I could.
No, I mean, I think Lazar does a great job of highlighting those brands out there and giving a brand like myself a platform. So I definitely appreciate Lazar for all the work he does. And it's a lot, next year or this year, I keep saying next year, but this year, because, last year they did Miami, New York, Detroit, and Texas. Now they're adding Atlanta, so now they got 5. Now it's up to 5.
Yes.
He started 1, then went to 2, now he's up to 5. So
yeah,
that is, I plan on and being at a few of them this coming year again, because I like Lazar. So I definitely want to go and support him.
Yeah, he's definitely putting a lot of brands on notice with people. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed from going to that event is that there are a lot of great Black brands, not just good, great Black brands out there that if I hadn't traveled out there, I would have never known.
Yeah.
We never met you. We wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. No, wouldn't be here. Because, and like I said, I think remember, you were walking by and we were talking. I think we might have met before the last, like you was there, were you multiple days there?
Yeah, so I did a lot of the filming.
Yeah, you were at all the events and all of that too, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I remember we talked and you were telling me about your podcast you had coming up. And you were saying, I don't got it up yet, but it's going to be there. I'm like, okay, cool. And I remember, I said, here, take this in.
Yep, we got it.
Yeah.
We did the podcast. She's like, this is all I can bring back to you. I was like, that's okay. We're going to make this work. And as soon as I find it in the stores, I'm going to be like, we know that guy.
Yeah, no. But, to me, like I said, by the way you were there filming it and conducting yourself, I just thought, wow, she's about to embark on a new journey, which takes courage. Anytime a lot of times I always laugh at people, some of these influencers and this and that who never really take a chance on anything, but they always want to give their opinion on stuff. Until you get out there and you take that chance, you really don't know. And you're taking a chance, putting yourself out there. And I wanted to thank you and appreciate you, for even coming over and talking to me in my booth when I was over there in that hot suit.
It did get a little hot now. Oh man, no, and honestly, it takes a lot for me. So I do have a journalism background, but still being on camera is not where I wanted to be. I want to be behind the camera writing. And so to come up to everybody and have to be an extrovert for that time was definitely difficult. So I had to push myself in order to even just meet you.
Oh yeah. And I always try to, I'm a big, tall Black man. So a lot of times but I'm the type, I've always been a person to smile all the time. You're going to catch, I'm going to be smiling because forget it. I ain't going to, even when I'm having a bad day, I'm still going to try to smile. And I like people. So in order for people to feel comfortable approaching, you have to seem approachable. So that's why I'm always trying to smile. And when you start talking about it, that's why I try to engage you. Because I had no idea we was ever going to be building. I didn't know it was ever going to come out. I didn't know where it was, we'd ever be sitting up here talking. But at that moment, you were telling me your story and what you want to do. I thought that was very amazing. So, hey, I got to hear you out. I got to do it. I had to come out of my Gemini mode, not be all about me, and have to let the other Gemini listen now.
I love that. Yeah, that was a fun time. So I'm hoping we'll get to see you again in person.
No, we definitely got to do that when we get we connected now. So just like do you know I Am 50 North, LaRon?
I do not.
He was one of the first people. I Am 50 North.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to my page, he all over there. He tried to hijack my page quite a bit. Nah. But with him, I remember when I first met him, somebody told me, this guy started a little podcast. He got a speakeasy. My product, I didn't have nothing in the bottle. I was still doing it. I remember I called him and said, hey, I'm about to start this bourbon brand. And he was like, oh, you talk, because I guess he had been reaching out to people and people were not really receptive because he didn't have a following and all this and that. But I liked him. So we connected and everything, he is turned into a friend and he, so with him, he had that dream and like now, if you go, he know everybody. He the one who introduced me to Mark Carter. He introduced me, he calling the main distiller at, what's that? Stella Austin. Or what is it?
Still Austin. Yeah.
Still Austin. he calling his, and I'm like, don't be flexing on me, bro. Dude, don't you be flexing on me. Him and this other person who before, like I said, before I had anything in a bottle, a friend of mine introduced us. Her name is Amy. They call her the liquid pharmacist because she's a pharmacist also. But she no big following at all, which, but she really appreciated it. And now she done grown, and once again, they have relationships with people. A lot of times people have a lot of followers, they don't really have relationships with people. And it's always about what you can do for me, give me this and that. And I'm like, you're more apt to get something from me without asking. But if you ask me, then I'll be like, whatever. But against it, but no, I think I've been seeing some of you guys' episodes. I think you guys are off to a great start. And that's why I reached out, even though y'all wasn't following me, but I ain't gonna say nothing about that.
Okay,
I'm so sorry. We will
fix that. We're gonna fix that if that's the case.
No, you should follow me because I tried to send you a message and I couldn't send you a message. And that's why I put it in there. But no, I'm just really honored to be part of you guys' journey and look forward to seeing it. I think you guys bring something different. You're not screaming expert. You're not, challenging people. There's no butterscotch in that. That is more like an apple on it, so it's, it's just, these experts be killing me. Somebody who said something. I said, how many brands you've done? I just say, okay, good. Be a critic. Okay, I get that. Yeah. You can be a critic, but we all can be a critic, but I think to go out there and do it, and don't get me wrong, a lot of these people like my boy Jason, Bourbon and Smoke. Bourbon and Smoke Jason got a huge following, but one of the coolest guys ever. And he lives right in my backyard. We live right by each other. So I can go drink. I can drink with him, and all this type of stuff with him. But he's the type to where he's looking at it because it's a place of love. He enjoys it, and you can tell when people come from a place of love versus they just want to get something for clicks and this and that. Let me say something shocking about it. It's the most terrible thing I've ever tasted in my life.
Yeah. They're trying to drum up views.
It's like, okay. So whatever. So I, with those, I look at stuff like that when people do. And depending on how they handle it, we're not going to like everything because there's a way you can do certain. You can tell people no in a respectful way versus the disrespectful way. So,
Oh, definitely. We've had some, we're not big flavor people. Like we eat grain to glass, but we've branched out. We've tried some flavors. We did Frisky Whiskey. We did Murmur Rum. And they were delicious. Now we know it's not truly for us. We're not big into sweet drinks. But for our viewers, hey, definitely pick this up. This is great.
Yeah. You never know. Some people out there get it. Like I said, I'm not a sweet, but Frisky. I tasted it. I told her it was cool. I said, but I can't drink it too much. It's going to beat me up. The sugar. It's certain, I learned drinks, me and mixed drinks sometimes don't get along. But like you say, you cannot destroy somebody just because you don't like it. There's different ways. There's different ways to say, well, not for me, but other people, that's cool.
Yeah.
And our channel really tries to reach the people that they're stuck in the rut of what's been advertised and marketed to them so heavy. Some of the bigger brands out there, they pretty much corner the market, and the average person is just, they'll pass right by it. The stuff that is artisan and is, quality and craft, and it may be made by one of us or somebody else out there that's really trying to pick some steam up, and they have actually a superior product, but it's not reaching the people. And so we're like, man, let's get some of these people on the channel and let's kind of push, some different products out here, because everybody knows what that other bottle is. Like,
and
everybody knows.
I forgot to even show off the bottle and all that. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful bottle presentation, man.
We done won awards for design, both platinum and gold for the label. I wanted something like up in here. That is the head of his guitar. One of his guitars up in there. So I really wanted to do something to where it's going to stand out on the bar, not just throw some label on the bottle and try and, do it. That's why it took a couple of years to really, get into it. Why I wanted to get the best bourbon. I could have went other places and got some good juice that like everybody else got.
Yeah, we know that place.
We know about that place. yeah, we know about.
Yeah, over the river from Louisville, but but I wanted something, and plus it had to be Kentucky straight for me. It had to be Kentucky bourbon because I always tell people my grandfather was an American legend. Bourbon is the only true American spirit. So why not put the American legend and the true American spirit? The combination. So I think I was, very honored to be able to connect with Bardstown, be able to do other things with them. I'm looking forward to being able to share, some of the other stuff with people. And, I just, one thing about starting this journey, my collection that I didn't drunk it all now because my fiance, it was like, nah, you can't get high on your own supply. 2, you cannot just keep going out and buy bottles just to have them up there. You need to drink some of this stuff. And I'm like a kid, but I started drinking my bourbon actually. And to me, like Freddie from Buffalo Trace, you ever saw Neat, the documentary?
Yes.
When he talked about that bottle that he opened with his father and brother.
Yeah, that pulled on me heavy.
Oh, whoa, that hit me.
That pulled on me heavy.
Man,
that hit me right there. Because like I said, me and my grandfather would sit there and drink. And that's what we do. You just go. And like I said, we would just drink whatever stuff that he had over there. People drop it off. And to me, it should be drunken. So, I remember one of my friends, he had a 15-year Pappy Van Winkle. He didn't like it. So he said, come on, we're going to drink it. We all just drunk it.
Yeah. It's like, might as well get it out the way.
It's like, I was laughing at, because I have a lot of expensive cigars and all this bourbon and everything. And I said, something happening? What's going to happen to it? My kids is going to give it away because they're not going to appreciate it. So I may as well smoke it and drink it up.
You're right. That's absolutely right.
So, to have them, I've had some good bottles and I've drunk a lot of them good bottles because I was a kid. I was a kid who you give me a collector item. I'm going to probably, give me I probably, over the course of my young years, I done probably destroyed baseball cards probably worth $1 million. I just stuck in my front tire to make the sound.
Oh.
Yeah. We probably did that too and didn't know. You don't know.
Didn't know. So it's like, to me, it's like,
I made the noises. I did all kinds of stuff.
The action figures, when I see people who get action figures still in the case, I'm like, man, I would have played with that sucker.
Yeah.
All them G.I. Joes we
had. It's destroyed. Yeah.
We talk about one to keep and one to drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? Sometimes the problem is, I don't know about for you, but me sometimes. Like, the one I'm supposed to be keeping, I drink that one, I'm like, this stuff is too good. And
it's too good. Yeah.
And I go walking by my bar, look at some other stuff. Okay, let me drink this. Let me go do this. Because, I went on that during COVID, I went on that whole Blanton's and E.H. Taylor. That was my go-to. E.H. Taylor, I love it. Bottled and Bond, But I collected all the Blanton tops. And so by collecting all these Blanton tops, I was in there. I was looking the other day. I had like 7 bottles of Blantons unopened in the box still.
Wow.
And I get, like I said, I got the whole collector set, right?
You already got the collection, so there's no need.
No, here's the thing about it. I got a second set in a bag, so I got enough time. So, it's like, so one of my friends, he was talking about something. And I'm like, talking blend, this and that. I ain't never had it. I'm like, here, take a bottle. You can have a bottle. Oh, man, what do you want for it? No, just give me something later on. Just whatever. Just take it.
Yeah.
For real, bro?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, take it. I got some more. And, my palate is 92 proof now. So now drinking it ain't like it used to be drinking it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think it's 92, 94, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, we got one somewhere.
We got one on back down there somewhere. Yeah.
At regular MSRP.
Yeah. I hate allocation.
No. I bought and see during like I said, that whole COVID. I think the most I paid for blends because I needed it. It was the last letter I needed. I paid $200 for it.
Wow.
In Aruba.
See, the letter chase is tough, man.
Okay, but did you go all the way with the letters? Did you send them in and have them put them on the stave?
Give me 1 second, okay? Can you give me 1 second?
Okay. Yeah. We got you. Give me 1 second. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so if you collect all the letters, you can send them in to Blends. Although I'd be afraid to send them in because,
Nah, I mean, they're going to take care of you.
They got to get through the mail system first.
Oh, man.
And then, yes.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, I was going to, and like you talk about the mail, one of them got bent, right? And I was like, it's bent. But I think that makes it more authentic because the horse is kind of like linked over.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's right here. Man. This one right here. He a little tipsy.
I can tell he bent a little bit.
He was just turning that corner a little too much.
He was hugging that curve, yeah. So.
Yeah, he was hugging the corner a little bit tight. Well, this is the first Blanton stave that we've seen on the channel.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen them online before, but I've never known anybody that had one complete.
Oh, yeah, no, it's cool. And look, they put this on there for you, the Buffalo tray.
That's what's up.
That's nice.
And it's like, it's like the whole little...
Look at that. He wanted a nerd just like us. He said, be right back. I got
it. That is awesome.
But see, and to me, right here, I remember this because, like I said, which one is the B? This is my the B right here. This is my Aruba trip right here.
Oh, okay.
The second in was in Cancun. Coming through the airport, duty free. And I saw it and I asked the lady, I said, hey, can I look at them real quick? So she grabbed all the boxes. I said, I need an N. And so she was like, okay. And we went through it and I found that second N. People don't realize there's two different N's.
Yeah.
If you ever collect them, one N is regular and the second N got like a little circle or something under it or a dot.
Oh.
Because you know the whole thing about the horses, right?
Yeah, it's the race. It's the full race, right?
The full race, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
man.
So this is pretty dope. I
don't know what ours is.
I don't know what
I might send it. I get another one. I might send it in
real quick. Hold on.
We only got one.
We only got one, so I do want to know what it is because we do got one. We have an A.
Okay, you got an A, yeah.
We got an A, so it's just barely could tell it, but it's there.
Yes. So you're on your journey now.
Yeah. It's been a long one because we hadn't been going to get very many more.
No, here's the thing. A lot of times what you do is I done did in bars. Like I was in a bar in Detroit. I bought out, a little bit left in the bottle. I asked what the letter was. I said, if I drink the rest of it, can I have it? He said, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. I've heard about stories like that.
Yeah.
Most bars
are gonna get them.
Yeah, they get them. They just they got to throw the whole bottle away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So so that's you can buy it like that because I've seen people you try and buy them online the whole set. It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's no story. See, you got a story with yours. You're like, I took a trip here.
Yeah, I remember
this.
Yeah, I remember. I traded a bottle of which one was it for? I think it was the L or the A. I traded. What did I trade that for? I traded him something. It was a bottle that he loved this stuff. I forgot what it was, but I traded him. You know what? It was a Frank Sinatra Jack Daniels.
Okay.
Remember, I traded him because I had tasted it already, and it was kind of a little harsh for me. Mm-hmm. And but I had somebody gifted me a bottle of it, so I traded him. Here, I trade you this for that. Okay, because he's a Jack Daniel head. He was like,
gotcha.
Here you go, you can have it. Gave him the whole, and it was all in the box and everything. So he was happy. So we both, it was a win-win negotiation. So which is always
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we have to have more people, more friends, and do some trading.
Yeah,
we got into handshakes a little bit.
You got what?
We got into the handshakes a little bit. So just sending little samples so everybody can try it and not have to buy their own bottle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing people do. But no, I think this community is great, and like I said, things like this to me, I'd rather have this than just a bottle sitting up there collecting dust. Because the bottles ain't got no story. You got stories about how when you got them. I stayed in line, but why do it if you ain't gonna enjoy it?
Yeah. That's right.
Because like I said, I'm trying to get
to enjoy. So we try to invite friends over, like, hey, come up to the library.
Yeah.
Come check us. Have you had this? Have you had that? Like when we get your full bottle, we're gonna be like, hey man, y'all gotta try this. See what you think.
Yeah.
That's what we like to do when friends come by.
No, it's true. But no, like I said, this right here is a journey. Like I said,
it is.
It's been fun, and it's only just starting. We're gonna do more and more and more, and can't wait to share more with you guys and let you, like I said, to me, it is something that I am honored to take on to honor him. And I know it wasn't going to be easy, but I don't think anything else I want to do right now other than this, because this is, I would never be able to pay my grandfather back for all the things he did for me. So this is my way of trying to pay him back through his legacy.
Man, that's cool.
Man, that is, cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that.
And also I got to tell the website, www.johnleehookerlegacyspirits.com. Or funny thing about it, you can go to www.boogiechillenbourbon.com, because someone tried to steal Boogie Chillen Bourbon for me and try to sell it back to me. And
ain't no way.
I wouldn't buy it. I'm not buying it. And then they let it expire, and I had and I just looked in there one day because my host company sent me a note. Oh, a domain that you're looking for is now available. I looked.
Wow.
Got it.
Boom. So.
Funny story that happened to us. So liquorconnoisseur.com, we didn't own in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so thank goodness it took us 3 years to get the courage to start, because by the time we were ready to start, it had expired.
Yeah.
And we were able to pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and probably whoever had it, they try and sell it to you.
They didn't contact us, but they held on to it for a while. Mm-hmm. So I was like, somebody was monitoring my search.
You would think it would be taken before.
Yeah. It's kind of been lucky for us. I mean, we've got our logo trademarked and everything. It's just been weird. You would think someone would have had it.
Yeah.
Because I've had several trademark fails for other ideas for when we start our brand one day, and they didn't go through.
Yeah.
No, but I think y'all, you got the right one. I like the shirts and all that.
Oh, thank you. We try.
Yeah. We about to start putting some of our shirts up there. This is one of them.
All right.
Oh, nice.
I like that.
Oh, with the guitar? Yes.
I like that.
With my man right there in there, looking all gangster like he looked with his Lokes on. So now, but it's been great, and just an example of the great people you meet that I've met on this journey with you guys. So Definitely.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you being here. We are going to do more together. Definitely. We're going to see each other this year. We're going to make that happen. Roger, you got to meet Glenn.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make that happen.
Yeah, definitely. We
might let Roger travel this year a little bit.
Now that I know he's gonna do like bottling bond proofs and up and stuff, we on the same page.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, this is bottom bond. I didn't know beforehand. The next ones, I'm going on the next ones. I'm going to update the label now because I got time. But it should have been bottom bond. But that makes it. That makes the story even better.
You got to buy the one that doesn't say it and the one that does say it.
And the thing about it is, like, it's so funny. Like I said, it's one of them type of things. Because it's actually a funny story. It's like, hey, I didn't know, and they told me. I'm like, let's do it. The designer said, okay, she need 3 weeks, and then the print was gonna be like an extra. Then after that, it'd be 2 to 3 weeks for they could print. Then bottle it. I'm like, oh, never mind. I got to bottle it.
Stall everything out.
Yeah. So now.
Well, we appreciate your time, Glenn.
I appreciate you. We're gonna toast it up now. Cheers.
Yeah, we're definitely toast, man.
Thanks for being here.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.